Ah yes, Windows 3 multimedia. It seems like games for it are actually quite rare. Well, aside from Myst and the dozens, maybe even hundreds of Myst clones. Other than that, it seems like all they had was edutainment and adult media. I recently reviewed TerraTrack's Track of the Vampire, which got me curious to try out more things. I found out about this entry, Crusaders, Adventure Out of Time, which looked like it had a ridiculous budget. It was developed by Index Plus, now named Microids, which seem to only make stuff like Still Life and Syberia now, which I really gotta try both. But it was published by Europress, and it seems like they actually got assistance by the European console for doing it. And like, look at this. It seems mind-blowing having all these actors moving around in what is amazing graphics. So does this stand out as a fantastic edutainment title? Or is it just like a boring lecture? Stay tuned to find out.
Who's that pointing and clicking his way to internet fame? You might be a little too cool for your mainstream kind of games. But if you like retro consoles and obscure PC stuff, then you might just be hip enough for this pretentious hipster.
This aims for a surprisingly complex plot for edutainment, and it can be quite a mess if you don't pay full attention to it. It follows a lord named Arto, who is a fearsome lord, deciding to take down a monastery in his kingdom that was owing a lot in taxes. The church demanded compensation for this from Philip August. When he was taken over, he was buried under a sort of grave for 3 years, and given food and water. Later on, he's sent on a mission to redeem himself by visiting the Holy Lands. Basically, King Baldwin IV, who is known as the Leopard King of Jerusalem, thinks that there's a plot to overthrow his government, especially because Baldwin V is like 5 years old. This deals with him preparing the journey, traveling to the Mediterranean, and eventually to Jerusalem. He meets a ton of characters along the way, most notably the narrator. Arto's performance was, well, really weird. All he would do is look around and make the weirdest faces, but it was somehow entertaining. If you think that's weird though, you gotta hear their accents. They are of the utmost accuracy.
Ye gods, let's show this vagabond knight who his real master is. We will not permit such a brazen display of independence. Times have changed, Arto. Thy fortress will not stand in the way of my march into the pages of history. Tear down these pathetic walls.
Of course, it goes for a supernatural direction near the end, with it incorporating folklore from various religions. And let me say that they are quite awesome to look at. The best part of this is actually the graphics. It consists of FMV with a green screen used to place in-game graphics as the background. The shot composition and lighting that they can make are absolutely gorgeous, and my jaw would even drop at some of these moments. The fact that they all move around during the gameplay was even more mind-blowing, especially when it comes across as natural. The thing is, with FMV games, they have those weird loops that just make it seem awkward as hell. The closest they have for an awkward loop is a fade out and in effect to do another loop. Sometimes though, they don't even have any loops, and you better pay attention because you can miss some important things. They provide that initial hook in the beginning with it following a siege. Not only did I find it incredibly engaging, but it actually taught me so many things related to it, like using these tunnels to get inside of buildings. Each level basically has a riddle or a puzzle. You are first given a view of one or more areas, with it being similar to a point-and-click adventure game. The NPCs move around, and there are various items you can interact with to add to your inventory. You can also hear dialogue from the more notable NPCs regarding the current situation. Sometimes they just include descriptors though. I absolutely love this one. Look at this slacker, and ha! See what happens when you slack? Wonder if he learned his lesson. Well, not really, because he's dead. However, this is what threw me off at first. Even with all interactions with items and people in these areas, they won't give you enough to complete these riddles. This is where the rabbit hole part of this comes in. You are given some red text in the description of the riddle, and it goes to an encyclopedia entry related to those keywords. Then there are more keywords in the entry, and you go deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. These entries can contain characters, locations, or items on the right side, where you can click on the notable ones and then they go to your inventory. I know what you're thinking. God, that'll be the most boring thing. Just going through random Wikipedia style entries. But you know what? It's actually a fantastic way for you to learn things. You can read stuff as quickly or as slowly as you want. Want to just get the related things for your inventory? Just keep clicking on the words and adding everything from the right side. Want to read so in depth that you go into stuff that has nothing to do with the riddle? You're free to do so as well. I don't mind information overload if it's optional, and this does so, and it actually does so in a fun way. With these riddles being built this way, I find it not only informative, but super fun. I wish learning was always this fun because I had so much motivation to learn these things just to complete these riddles. Of course, you can just do a quick move which has a search engine to it. But I find that this removes the fun of it since there's no digging down all these related entries that helps you learn stuff. The puzzles can be quite challenging, which is a surprise for this. Most of it comes down to doing your research, but some have you thinking for yourself, like doing ship formations or certain pathways. The best part though is that for some of them I just completely guessed, and I managed to get them right on my first try. This puzzle though, talk about a very difficult one. I spent like 30 minutes on it, and I have a math degree. I'd say there was only one flaw with this. The inventory can be absolutely gigantic. Sometimes when you do your research, it just gives the sound effect meaning it's not relevant, but then stuff can become relevant in the future, like the winch and projectiles, and they were stuck in my inventory for like half of the game. It is so annoying to have like 20 or 30 items in there. How can I hold all these inventory items? It's honestly one of the most ridiculous cases of it I've seen in adventure games. All in all, this one was absolutely mind-blowing. I had a blast going through it, and I actually learned so much, like how they weigh down catapults for it to reach certain angles, how they take over buildings during sieges, the symbolism with cathedrals, and plenty more. I did find out that they did a sequel with Viking lore called Vikings. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the animations to run, and that's the best part of the game. Hopefully I can do so in the future and make a review of that as well. But, if you have access to this, please play it. You will not be disappointed.